Star Wars only. It should be called Star Wars simply. He's got a lot of shitty points.
Star Wars only? I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Since its opening, Galaxy's Edge has become somewhat of a debate among the Star Wars fandom. Is it a ghost town where no one is showing up and has become a massive financial failure, or is it printing money for Disney and packed with people 24/7? The park has just been a string of bad and cringy moments like the fight that happened at Disneyland and then the really awkward Harrison Ford Millennium Falcon moment that was supposed to be in honor of Peter Mayhew, but it really was just awkward because the sound guy messed it up.
Well, give it a try, Bob. Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is now open.
Well, fans no longer have to debate about whether this park has done well or not. Disney has recently released their Q3 earnings for the year, and they talk about the opening of Galaxy's Edge and how it has been doing. And the numbers are not amazing. Attendance for the park has gone down 3% despite the opening of Galaxy's Edge. CEO Bob Iger kind of explains a little bit more. He says that they didn't feel the need to advertise the new attraction, Galaxy's Edge, since anticipation among Star Wars fans was so high. That seems to be the mistake that they had. But the company has since stepped up promotions of Galaxy's Edge on billboards and social media. Honestly, you go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram right now, you're probably going to see a Galaxy's Edge promotion. They're upping the marketing on that finally. Bob Iger gave multiple reasons why attendance was down at Disneyland. He said some guests stayed at home in anticipation of crowds for Galaxy's Edge, the hotels around the area raised the prices, and Disney also raised the prices as well. Additionally, the land opened with only one attraction. The Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run is the only attraction at Galaxy's Edge right now. It will have two that will eventually come out. The second one's going to be called The Rise of Resistance, and that opens in January of 2020. Here's what Bob Iger actually has to say about the situation. At the same time that was going on, all of the local hotels in the region, expecting a huge influx of visitation, raised their prices. So it simply got more expensive to come stay in Anaheim. In addition to that, we raised our prices. We brought our daily price up. So if you think about local visitation, we brought up the price of one-day ticket substantially from a year ago. Now mind you, the prices do vary on these, and today I actually went to the website and found out how much it would cost for a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 kids, just to get in to the Galaxy's Edge theme park, into that Disneyland park. And right now it says for admission for all 4 of those people, it would be $870. That is close to $1,000 for one day for a family of 4 just to get in. That's not food. That's not the lightsaber that maybe one of the kids wants. That's $200, mind you. That's a lot of money for a middle-class family just to spend in one day at Disneyland. Just to get in, mind you. So that's a lot of money I don't think they're considering. Disney's CFO even acknowledged on the Tuesday call that fewer annual pass holders showed up at the California resort during this time since Galaxy's Edge has opened, which I find odd. I would think your annual pass holders should be your core audience that constantly show up. And Bob Iger even talked about how the media was saying that everything was a ghost town and empty. Apparently Smuggler's Run is actually one of the biggest culprits of why Disneyland and Galaxy's Edge look so empty. They have a capacity of 1,800 riders per hour. That's potentially 29,000 people per day. Smuggler's Run is basically vacuuming people out of Disneyland, making the rest of the park feel less crowded, because an hour-plus line for that new must-try ride has 2,000 fewer people walking around Disneyland in that 1-hour time frame. So there aren't that many rides at Disneyland that half the people in the park ride during that day, and one of them is Smuggler's Run. So you have a problem, obviously, with Smuggler's Run, and you just have a problem with planning in general. I really feel like Disney was not planning this at all. If they were planning it very poorly. Because over the past 4 years, the business has been growing, they've been doing great, and it's crazy to see their stock price fall 7% because of the Q3 earnings, which is mostly due to Galaxy's Edge and the lack of marketing that went on around it. I mean, why would you not promote it even among the Star Wars fan base? Did Disney really think that the Star Wars fans alone would come out in numbers for this new theme park? Have they been paying attention to the audience at all that they're trying to market to? The fandom is not in the same position that it was 3 years ago. Back when The Force Awakens or Rogue One came out, that would have been a great time to open up Galaxy's Edge. Everyone was really excited and happy about Star Wars. But after the divisive movie The Last Jedi and the financial failure of Solo: A Star Wars Story, Star Wars has been pretty much dry in terms of content since. Solo came out like a year and 3 months ago. So Disney really thought that with no content coming out in over a year and a very divided fandom, Star Wars fans would come out in full force for this new theme park. Really? I can tell you right now why many fans had no interest in this park. Bob Iger had it right when he said it was about the prices. Obviously the prices are ridiculous, but it's also confusing on who is this park made for. Is it for the kids? I find that hard to believe because they only have one ride open right now. That's not something a lot of kids want to go do, just one ride. But no need to fear, there's a second one coming out in January of 2020. So that means 2 rides for your younglings when they attend Galaxy's Edge. Also, it has the first alcoholic drinks on Disney property with the Cantina bar you can drink at. So if it's for kids, then why serve alcohol? Why only 1 and eventually 2 rides in the entire park? But you only give the kids a 4-hour time frame to explore it, when you know damn well one of those hours is going to be spent waiting in line for one of the rides. So if it's not for kids that are fans of Star Wars, then it's got to be for the adults of Star Wars, right? The adult fans of Star Wars. It's got to be, right? Because they serve alcohol, there's only a few cool rides, but you really only have 4 hours to spend here to walk around and explore a place. That sounds something like an adult Star Wars fan would do, go around, walk the park. But the new parks are based off the sequel trilogy. Disney said they didn't want the parks to be someone else's memory of Star Wars. Not the original trilogy, not the prequel trilogy, but the sequel trilogy. So any Star Wars content these older fans are nostalgic for won't be seen at Galaxy's Edge. So I guess it's not for the adults. So if Galaxy's Edge isn't for the kids because it only has one ride and really nothing else to do but walk around and buy stuff or drink alcohol at the cantina, the kids growing up on the sequels are too young to be nostalgic for it since the trilogy isn't even over yet. But it's also not for adults because the new theme park is based off of the new Star Wars content and nothing that the adults enjoyed or remembered. So then who the fuck is the park for? I try not to jump on the hate Disney bandwagon because it's so easy to do nowadays, but I really have no idea who the hell thought any of this was a good idea. Middle-class people do not want to spend close to $1,000 in one day just for a trip to Disneyland. I don't think that's a very middle-class thing to even do. And no Star Wars fan is going to want to spend that kind of money if they aren't even going to see the content that they know and love and grew up with. This has got to be one of the biggest mistakes Disney has made. How do you mess up a Star Wars theme park? That name alone should sell itself, of course. But when you have a bad market like you do now of Star Wars fans where it's mixed, there's not a lot of excitement going on in the fandom, and you don't even really market this because you think the fandom's just going to market it on its own. I mean, that's foolhardy. Come on. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I don't know. I can't put into words how bad of a mistake and stupid this was. I really can't. And it's not just me saying it. Even the people over at Yahoo Finance and people who have been writing articles about this over the past few days, because I've been getting this from many, many different people to try to get as many expert opinions on this as I can. All across the board, this is looked at as a mistake on Disney and just a failure on them, because it's crazy that a company like this, who has been doing great over the past 4 years, they've been beating the market. The S&P 500 has gone up 15%, and Disney shares were up 29% this year, up until Tuesday's close. Disney's been doing well in terms of business, and to fuck up this bad and have your stock drop 7% because of it, I think it's pretty disappointing. Pretty disappointing for a lot of Star Wars fans because, yeah, Disney can take a hit in terms of finance, but you know, in the end, they're going to, of course, balance out. Everything's going to work out for them. Everything will be okay. They're going to do great when Disney Plus comes out. But as Star Wars fans, we're the ones who have to sit here and, A, pay to get in, and B, not really, for a lot of fans, not enjoy the content that we all grew up and loved. Whenever someone told me, hey, you get to go to the universe of Star Wars, it's going to be a theme park, I always imagined it would be based in the original trilogy. That's the most common era I would think to go to because that's the most loved era by everybody. But instead, they go for the least favorite era and the newest era that no one's nostalgic for yet or really cares about much. It just absolutely makes no fucking sense. But hey, what do I know?